What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Sports-A-Delic. Welcome to another cigar segment. I got my main sidekick, James. Welcome, James, as usual. Welcome.
What's going on, peoples?
I understand. Before we get into anything too serious or too heavy, I understand. You told me about there's a new cigar lounge here in the A called Butts and Ashes.
Yeah. Not from cigar butts, but BUTTS.
I mean, what do you mean?
What are you sitting on? Your butt.
Right.
And these are the ashes.
What I'm saying to you is, what I'm saying is, you're not telling me.
It's a nice spot, beautiful spot. It's new.
What's the significance of the ashes in the butt? That's what
I mean, I don't know. It's to each his own. I mean, I think that it's definitely going to draw him in. But he has.
Well, you haven't told me. I understand butts and ashes.
Okay.
What is going on? Like when you walk in the door, is what I'm saying. What do you see?
You see a nice spot. You see a bar. He has a separate smoke room where you smoke. Great food. And it's almost like the same when you go to Twin Peaks or Hooters. That's it. You go to Hooters to see what? Hooters.
So you're saying that as a woman, I can walk in there with my ass out?
If that's what you choose. That's what equality is.
You're saying that there's women in there as waitresses.
I'm just saying
with their ass
it's
out.
Nice. It's nice.
No, I mean, I'm asking you. Is that what you're saying? Like
they are.
Their butt cheeks are out, James.
I mean, hey.
Is that what's going on?
Maybe it is.
I guess James might be doing some hidden advertisement for Butts and Ashes, new cigar lounge.
Holla at me.
Here in, ATL.
Well, it's really Stone Mountain, isn't it? Because it's right there on that border.
Okay, Stone Mountain, Atlanta. Everyone knows that whatever happens here in the A is going to be amped up 10,000%. So apparently now there's a lounge that has a Hooters concept, except for it's the butt.
If you're a butt man,
the booty.
If you're a butt man,
the booty. The waitress's ass is out. So guys, girls, whoever you may be, when you go there, you're going to see the ass out. Now, do they have male?
No. Nah. That ain't nothing.
With anything out? No.
Hey, listen. If that's what you want, I think you need to put your money together and open up one called Asses and Sticks. And you see how many guys you get to go in there. It's not gonna happen. So let's be realistic.
Well, I don't know. I think that several men will frequent. That's into seeing butts and sticks.
No. You're not gonna see guys. You're not going to even see guys walk in and say, "Hey, let me get a stick and come on out of there."
James, let me remind you of the era we live in now. There's freedom of choice.
You're absolutely correct.
Freedom of identification.
You're absolutely correct.
I think what you're saying is if you're not in that lifestyle, you're not going to find appreciation. And I only want to call it a lifestyle because I don't want to be disrespectful. Everybody likes what they like and who they like.
Yeah.
And
so I don't think
nobody
do.
But I do think that men will go in there.
I don't think that men will go there.
Well,
now we can agree to disagree on that.
No. There are men that appreciate, seeing and they find men attractive. You're saying
okay.
Men that don't find men attractive
will not go. So if it's a man that wants to find another man attractive, then of course he's going to go.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're saying you don't think a man will go, and I'm saying I think
I stand corrected.
Women that find women attractive are going to go.
Yeah, they're gonna go.
It's a tough proposition, if you don't find a woman, attractive. I mean, I think in terms of self-security, as women, we can look at another woman and say, she's beautiful, she's pretty, she's attractive, and it's just a self-security compliment.
And you know how guys say that?
But to my point, my point is, but I don't want to, I find that there are, just like I find myself to be attractive, I find that there are other women, that are, attractive, that are, beautiful. Like Angela Bassett is absolutely, beautiful to me.
Okay.
Not in a sexual way, but just in a complimentary way.
Okay.
But I don't want to go somewhere where Angela Bassett got her ass out and I'm trying to enjoy a cigar.
It might not be for you.
Right. But that's what I'm telling you. Your original statement was, no, men aren't going to go. I said, I just have to.
And I stand it corrected. I said, I stated that a man that is not looking for another man would not go. But if a man is looking for another man, then of course they have the right to choose and be wherever they want to.
But I may not be looking. They may just appreciate seeing.
Okay. All I can say to you is that
you're not looking for a woman when you go in there, but you appreciate seeing the ass out apparently. You see what I'm saying? Like you can appreciate something without wanting to just dive, into it.
I'll agree.
Like I believe that there are men that are not attracted to men that aren't going to go there because that's just not, how they enjoy their cigars. That's not going to be the hook for them.
No man wants to be sitting there smoking a cigar while a guy got his schlong all out. No, that's not.
No, but I think, because me, I always give men, credit. Maybe I shouldn't, but I believe that there's going to be men be like, that's just, too much for me. Like, because some men go strictly to enjoy
a cigar,
and they just want to have a beer or a cocktail.
Yeah, they are definitely not trying to get caught up in all of that back and forth. And I get it, who wants to, well, I can't say who, because there are some people that want to be in that situation. I just find it for myself that that's not an environment that I would like to be in or I would like to be around. Nothing against anybody. I mean, you do what you want to do. It's your right. It's your right to choose however you want to do it. But just for me, that's not something that, I want to sit around and enjoy a smoke to, because I think that cigar smoke to me is an opportunity to sit back and relax and unwind. The most thing that I want to do is maybe network, watch some games and things of the nature, tell a couple of lies and things like that. But
and shout out to my boy Troy, in the DC area. Hail to the Redskins / Commanders. We were talking last night, and he said that he pretty much now stays at home. This is he's in DC. He said he just enjoyed now just smoking at the crib on his porch because cigar lounges have turned into nightclubs.
Correct. It's the new bar and grill.
It's DJs, it's loud, it's wow. And he made an interesting point. He said, when you go to a club, there's less seating, more dance floor because they want people to dance. He said, when you go to a cigar lounge, there's more seating and less floor space because it's for lounging. But even the lounge, even the smallest, tiniest areas I've noticed here in the A, there's always some extra wow stuff. Like we couldn't sit in most lounges here and talk at this volume.
No.
You got to scream.
But I've identified, and we've had this conversation several times, and I think that what it boils down to is that before you open up any type of establishment around cigars, you need to first identify what you are. Are you a cigar shop? Are you a cigar lounge? Are you a bar that
cigar friendly?
Cigar friendly. And then once you identify with that, then you can know what target audience that you're going after, and what target audience that you're looking for. If I'm looking to open up a cigar lounge, and sell merchandise, then I'm going to be looking at, I'm going to be networking a lot, and I need to make my area conducive for networking. If I'm trying to be a party guy, want to have a spot where, it's not going to have longevity in it, because we already know how Atlanta runs. You have runs in the clubs because it's so many, this city is made around clubs.
Well, let me ask you this. Why people don't want to open up a lounge that has some real good air quality? Like that's
money.
That's what pisses me off.
It's the money. A lot of people don't understand, air filtration systems are costly. And based upon the size that you have, it may require 1 or 2 units. And you got some people that'll go out there, they'll put that loud fan in there thinking that, okay, well, it's going to push that air out. The problem is that it's not cleaning the air.
Oh, let's not forget the shops that turn the AC down to 20 degrees Celsius and freeze you to death because
it's supposed to, take away some of the smoke. It's different.
Nothing takes away smoke but the smoke eater.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't want to put the money into that smoke eater. Most of your smoke eater is going to run you anywhere between $4 to $5, maybe $6,000. And if you got to get 2 of those, that's $10,000. That's $8,000 to $10,000 that you can be using in inventory. So,
well, I'm not going to give anybody any ideas, but one thing that could happen,
and that is what?
From a health code standpoint, like if they start going in these places and, checking the air quality, they can,
force them.
Put some restrictions and stuff in there. And this is what I'm trying to explain to you all. I'm not trying to knock anybody's business, but we do not promote smoking as something healthy. Like we're not sitting up here enjoying these, telling you it's healthy. Now I will tell you it's the lesser of the evils because we don't inhale. But smoke itself at a secondhand level, is inhaled. So I try to enjoy cigars in an open space, like here at the house or outside. Preferably. I used to enjoy going to Davidoff before they closed down.
That was one spot that was clean.
I heard that they have a patent on their filtration system.
They got a great one. I went in there, and the funniest thing that I noticed was that they had glass doors that, it's not completely shut. It's just, you got that little seam in between the glass doors where it opens up. And I'm standing outside in the cashiering area where you checkout area where you buy stuff from, and people was in there smoking. None of that smoke came into the lounge area or the lobby area. None of it. All that smoke stayed in that room.
Well, no,
and it was clean. It was clear.
Well, no, their entire establishment is a humidor.
It's crazy
like,
how they
all of it is a humidor.
Yeah,
like it's not from an air filtration standpoint. How you humidify the humidor. Well, the entire lounge and the whole thing was. I remember being in it might have been 30 people, but you couldn't smell any smoke. You couldn't smell any smoke. We're not going to name the spots that we've been in, and you can go in cash and carry. Tell me I'm lying. You can go in just to buy one cigar and leave and smell like a complete total ashtray.
Yeah. I mean, the same thing when you go into a spot and they supposed to have white walls, and the white walls are actually brown. That shows you about the filtration system of a spot. If you come in with light colored walls and you got a great filtration system, then guess what?
They're white.
They're white. Or when you look up top and you see the aluminum and it was aluminum when you first started, ducks. Now it's bronze. It just doesn't, it looks like copper. So that lets you know.
Copper fit.
Yeah, copper fit. So, no. I mean, this.
Well, okay, what I'm saying is the belief is you open up a business, you have what is called an operational budget that you say, okay, I need these things. And I just don't understand why, I need $12,000 for the city. Yeah, I understand. People just want to have an extended man cave or a woman cave or whatever,
whatever kind of cave it is.
Right. But there's one spot that I will promote, which is Havana on Auburn Avenue.
Yeah.
We got DJ Chuck out there.
Ralph's a good guy too.
Yeah, Rafa and Heather on the spot.
Yeah.
Good people. But Chuck, straight out of Detroit, Michigan graduate. He's doing it. He used to DJ at 617.
Okay.
He sets up outside. People bring their lawn chairs, and we just sit out there on the block.
That's what's up. That's what's
blast off, and there's air circulating. But we have a good time. Havana, Auburn Avenue. That's where you want to go if you enjoy smoking cigars, listening to old school music, having your bubbly, because it's BYOK. BYOK. And reasonably, health conscious.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say this to you. I've known Rafi for a while, and this guy was the first guy to turn me on to that Sanchez Gomez.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say this to you: if any of you guys have never had that Sanchez Gomez, you got to try it. It is a great cigar.
Well, in fairness, when you go to this spot, you may see some Placencia, some couple of GTOs, sweet tips. Rafa's niche, he is from Cuba.
Yeah. And
what he does, his niche is exposing us in the United States to cigars that we typically don't see in the States. So if you want to experiment with your palate and try cigars that normally you're not going to see Havana, Auburn Avenue. Now, to add to that, when you go, tell him your favorite cigar, and then he'll be able to go in his humidor and give you a cigar
that's comparable to
it.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the cigar game. You can never smoke them all. There's always something new.
It's always going to be something new, and it's always something that's coming out. The thing about it, whenever I recommend cigars, I always say, well, what is it that you smoke? And then I'm gonna try to find something as close to that as possible. Unfortunately, here in this city, even though this is a large cigar market because of the brick and mortars, it's a lot of green people that are smoking. So it's funny to me when people come up and they say, hey, I smoke cigars. Well, what is it that you smoke? Okay, well, I smoke this brand, that brand. And I'm like, okay. And I tell them, politely, hey, listen, you might start off with that, but eventually your palate is going to increase. So you're going to want something that's going to be more on a streamline of just straight forward. And then you'll start to identify, okay, I can do something light in the morning with coffee, espresso, sweet tea, something like that, lemonade. And then as the day goes on, you might want something that has a little bit more body to it. You might be drinking bourbon, scotch, rum, tequila, whatever it is.
Right.
So you need something to kind of pair with that.
Well, to each his own, of course, but we've talked about this in some of our earlier episodes, and we're encouraging you all to go back toward the cigar series, from beginning to current.
Check it out.
Because there's a lot of cigar education there.
Yeah.
When I ask someone, so what's your palate? And they say back to me, what do you mean? and I do it on purpose. Okay, so those of you all that's watching this video now, and I say, hey, what's your palate?
You already know identify.
I'm just checking. That lets me know. And I know a lot of people, only thing they know is I don't like cigars that, have a strong, hard taste and hits the back of my throat and blah, blah, blah.
Hits the back of your throat.
That's what they said. Dudes, too.
That's what's up.
That's what dudes say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I love a non-gagger.
Okay. All right. But they want, and they say, I just want something light, not understanding that you can smoke a full body cigar that's smooth, rich, creamy on the draw and everything. That's not going to hit you in the back of your throat.
Yeah.
And it's not bitter. Now, and then you got to know, like Rocky Patel is heavy pepper and spice.
Yeah.
That's what he does. So if you're not peppery, spicy type person, you want to stay away from those.
Yeah, my father's.
But I just think if you putting it in your mouth, I don't care what it is. This cocktail here, I don't care what it is. If you're putting it in your mouth, do your homework and your research so you'll know.
I'll agree to that.
What you're putting in.
I'll agree to that. Know what you're putting in your body,
but
also know what you like. You might not be a spice person, or you might not be an earthy person. You might not like the creamy undertones to it, but find your little niche or what it is that you like to smoke. You can expand. Like, I had this Pravada club, and it was the chocolate donut.
Yeah, you told me about that.
I hate the fact that the shop that I was getting it from didn't have no more, because they're limited small batch. Man,
they can't keep up with demand.
They can't.
That's what I hate about my boutiques. They be putting it out, but they just can't keep up sometimes.
No.
A lot of people don't know this is upwards of over $100,000 for one blend.
Yeah.
One blend. So when you think about Perdermo, Olivia, Ash, Fuente,
Padrón.
Yes. These cats have 7, 8, 9, 10 different blends.
Faces, yeah.
And different sizes and everything. But, when they tell you they have tobacco that's 30, 40, 50, 60 years old.
Yeah.
Which gives them consistency.
Yep.
Consistency.
That's what you're gonna get when you get Fuente. When you get Padrón, you can get a 1926 Padrón a year from now, and it's gonna taste the exact same as the one that you had 2 years ago. But what I always try to tell people, a couple of guys at one spot, they went out and they got it's called the Cigar Bible. You go in, you write, I tell any guy, if you want to take this seriously, get you a journal, put your labels in there, and write down what it was that you liked about it. That way you can always say, hey, I tried that, I liked it, I didn't like that.
Branch off because you can get comparable.
Correct. And I think that you have to you're absolutely correct. You got to put the time in if you're going to try to understand this industry. Because you got to know what it is that you like, don't like. Don't go based upon what somebody else say. Try it out yourself. Go.
Yeah, because I tell people, I don't just say, "Oh, I didn't like that cigar." I'm able to tell you exactly why.
What you didn't like about
I'm not heavy pepper, heavy spice. I do not like. I like a hint. Like I can do a my father's
Okay.
because it's a hint of pepper. Well, I take that back. I think the sun grown edition is lighter pepper.
It is a lighter pepper, and I think it's because of the shade of leaf that they're using to do it with.
Yeah.
Now, when you go to the Jaime Garcias, they are just it's heavy because it's a heavier leaf.
Right.
You know, it's a broader leaf.
You know, the Jaime's it's just not in my palate. It's just not.
But it's great with bourbon, though.
You know, nothing is going to be great with bourbon for me. Bourbon is not great, you know. I've been down Bourbon Avenue.
You done been down Bourbon?
Yes, and it didn't work out for me. So, you know, you live and you learn, and you no, I cannot. You know, Bourbon defeated Green.
So are you saying that Bourbon kicked your?
Yeah, Bourbon kicked my AZZ.
Well, that night at that party, where we partied for 12 hours, we drank a little bit of everything.
Daylight savings.
Yes,
That was one of Richard's birthdays.
Yes, listen, we partied 12 hours straight,
3 p.m.
to 3 in the morning.
See, this is also, pay attention to this. This is why you only invite people to your home that you can trust.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you what Reem will do and have done. Am I lying? I will leave. No, I will go in the house, James.
Yeah.
I ain't never kicked nobody out. That's not true. When have I ever kicked somebody?
No, you haven't kicked anybody out.
I will. I don't even tell you I'm leaving my yard. I just leave and go to bed.
It was extremely cold that day too. It was nice during the day, but that temperature dropped like I don't know what.
And ladies, let me tell you something about men and competition. I had put some stuff on the grill because we were celebrating one of my best friend's birthday, and just a light, cookout. Invited. We probably had maybe 20 total people that came through that. It was about a 9 strong left. And we were drinking everything. I'm talking about apple pie moonshine, bourbon, cognac, wine, vodka,
rum,
everything but water. Everything but water. And we ended up using the grill as like a fire pit.
As a fire pit. Destroyed the grill.
Yeah.
We destroyed the grill. The grill was done.
And so me and, my homegirls were like, we're cold. And so the men wanted to flex. And so each guy was trying to keep the fire going and, just throwing in everything. Except for this one guy, he upped the ante.
He brought back a tree branch. No, he brought back a small tree.
Yeah, that was the late Tony.
Yeah,
Tony Morris, right? Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Tony sealed it, and he brought back it was a small bush tree, but it was out of my neighbor's yard. It was part of her lawn setup, and dumped it in the grill. So that like my neighbor had this big gap between you, like in our yard. That's what he did.
Yeah.
That's
but that was a good night.
But James, what did you do?
I ain't do nothing. I didn't do nothing.
Okay.
I just sat back and enjoyed my man's birthday, and
so you didn't straddle a chick?
No. I didn't do anything.
Took a piece of peppermint?
No.
Jammed it in her mouth?
No, I didn't do none of that.
Okay, well let me ask you this question: are you calling me a liar right here on my show? I'm making that up.
What I'm gonna say is this.
Just yes or no.
Did
I make that up?
No, what I'm gonna say, I'm gonna answer my way.
No. I'm asking you. Yes or no.
What I'm gonna say to you is this.
Did I make it up?
I plead the fifth. Yeah. So
you can't.
I plead the fifth.
Am I lying?
No. Listen, I don't know what happened on that day.
Am I lying?
I don't know. I think I passed out and woke back up again.
You know.
Yeah,
okay. Well, before you passed out.
I don't know.
You know.
I do not
ladies,
know.
ladies, this is a lesson to you. This is what men will do. You know, they will.
It wasn't me.
They will do these things and then just be like,
it
wasn't me.
Mm-mm.
You know, and like I'm woman enough to sit here and tell you, I instigated all of it. I did.
Yeah.
I encouraged it. I played the right song.
Listen,
James was amped up, you know, and I was like,
that's not even my style.
Do it.
That's not
and
even.
then,
I'm just so laid back. I'm laid back.
And then I slipped a piece of peppermint in his mouth, and then I said, "Hey, you know, put it in her mouth, James." And he just
no.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh my God."
No, that didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
That
didn't happen.
I don't recall.
What you got to make up your mind. You know, you don't recall what didn't happen.
I don't recall.
No.
You know.
Well, I do.
I did not put peppermint
because that's when Tony was gonna beat your ass.
Tony will beat who ass?
He's gonna beat your ass.
No.
Because he felt some kind of way because
that wasn't gonna happen.
He was trying to make a move on the chick.
That wasn't gonna happen.
So, ladies, and James is a big guy, but you know, with the right 12 or 13 liquors in him, he can become very flexible. you know, James can, get a, what's that song? Yeah. How low can you go?
Yeah, big boys can move too.
Yeah,
they can do great things. Great things.
Oh, they can do great things. They just can't remember.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. You know. So. You know.
Yeah, that's what James. I'm telling you.
Listen. I'll tell you in a minute. Listen. You know, you got to understand this. Just because a guy's big, that don't mean he can't move.
So you do admit to moving that night?
I'm talking about in general. In general.
Are you a big guy that can move?
Yes. Dance.
I rest my case.
Dance. I do it all. I can do it all.
I rest my case.
Okay.
I just got arrested. Speaking of move, I've said this once. I said, I don't think that there's anyone that can touch Ciara as a performer. You know, I respect.
There's plenty of people that can touch her.
No. I'm talking about on the female side. Like Chris Brown is lethal. But what I'm saying is you cannot deny her that. And I respect the work.
The performance aspect of it, yes.
No, I respect the work. You can tell that she's meticulous and it has to be right. And you know, and then to remember each routine. Shout out to her, and because her dancers to me be cutting up just as hard. Like they be going in. But
as a mother of three.
She can't dance because she's a mother of three?
You can dance. But how are you dancing? And what are you dancing
she's performing.
to?
Supposedly.
Okay.
Supposedly.
So the award show was a performance. With the ass out and this man is the face of his franchise and you know, everybody knows about that relationship, and you're gonna let everybody in the world see your woman's butt like that?
Well, didn't we see Ciara's butt before then?
But as a young person, you know.
So for you, it's the age and the fact that she's married now.
No, my thing is how you going to explain that to your children?
Oh my God! Speaking of which, really the most irreprehensible. Her son, Future, asked her. You know, she got this song, "Jump," make that thing jump. And her 8-year-old son asked her. He asked her in the privacy of their home, looks like in the kitchen. She took it upon herself to then start recording and ask him to ask her while recording, "What did you ask me?" And he says, what does that thing mean in your song Jump? Because you're saying that thing, make that thing. He said, that thing. That lets you know he's very intelligent. Yeah. It also lets you know that he's starting to put things together. And she says to him, it's like making cars jump, you know, and people jump around. Yeah. And he said to her twice, "Really, Mom? Really?" Because, see, a child may know that's not it.
But they're going to listen to
you. He doesn't know what it is, but he knows what you just said. That ain't it.
Yeah, that ain't
so it. He's looking at his mom make that thing jump. And he watched the video. He didn't see no cars jumping and all of what she's, you know, he's like, what is the thing?
That twerkulator.
And it's so sad because the children are not protected. And you know, and boys are a little different when it comes to their mom. They don't want to think of mom as anything other than this pure, wholesome person. And they're just people. Yeah. This is what I'm saying. I get what everyone is saying about you're 37, you're a mother now, you're a wife now. You are secure enough to where it's not about money for you. So it has to be about the attention. And why do you still need this level of attention? I'm not letting Russell Wilson off the hook. You know, I don't know if he's a simp. I don't know any of that. What I'm saying, don't know if he's a beta. What I'm trying to tell people, who's to say?
It's not a good look.
No, but who's to say that Russell Wilson, you know, he put his image out there. He put out there what he wanted you to believe and buy into. I don't think that he's the guy that his image says that he is. Like, why does it have to be anything? Ciara lives with him. Most of the time, he's the one shooting the video. So nobody knows better than Ciara who he is. And that's why she does what he does, because that's what he liked. Because he had enough status, he's good looking enough, definitely enough money, that if he really wanted a wholesome, you know, devout Christian woman, not to say anything wrong with Ciara, but Ciara wouldn't have been his choice if he was really who he's projecting. That's just what I think. I don't think he's the wholesome Christian, the good dude. I think he's a good dude, but I think that he likes all of everything that Ciara, you can tell he was a fan. That's just what I think. I think he likes all of it, and he knew that he couldn't have it now until he got his cake up and his status up. Because I think she's like 3-4 years older than him, you know, because he wasn't going to step to her. Just think about it. When she was 21, he was 17. So he couldn't step to her then. And then before he got his first...
If he had game, he could.
No, because Ciara, she had already transcended past Bow Wow. Then.
Okay, but if he got game, you know.
No.
Only in America.
No, that's ridiculous.
That's the American dream.
No, I'm saying that's ridiculous. She wasn't going to get with any 17-year-old just because they had game when she got money and status.
Let me just say this to you. You know, when I was younger, I was 19. I dated a woman for 2.5 years. She was 10 years my senior.
James, I get tired of men doing this. I get tired of men doing this.
I'm just saying.
I get tired of men dragging some.
What's dragging?
I'm going to tell you. I get tired of men dragging. Oh, I was with a woman that was 20 years older than me, this, that, and the other, and all of that. Because I don't know what it's supposed to mean. It really says more about the woman than the man.
No, it says some more about the maturity level. No, that's what it actually says.
That's what it says. Her maturity level. It does. It does. Because I just remember at 17, based on my maturity level, I didn't even want to be bothered with a 17-year-old.
You wanted older.
Yeah, because maturity, we typically mature faster.
Now,
and I'm saying,
I'm asking you this question. I'm gonna ask you this question because I think that boys go through that normal progression. Is it because of the simple fact that there is a clock aligned with a female that makes her timing goes a little bit faster because she knows that there's a time clock in regards to anything relation-wise, childbirth, things of that nature?
No, we're talking about mental maturity.
If I know that I got to get to a certain situation by a certain time.
You ask me.
Okay.
So I'm going to answer it because I am the woman. I can promise you when we were 15, we were more mature than the guys 15, but we wasn't sitting there saying, oh, we got this clock ticking and we got, so it wasn't about
mature to what? Because
I'm answering your question.
I want to interject. And I apologize. What I'm saying is that a 15-year-old boy is going to act like a 15-year-old boy. He's going to do what a 15-year-old boy is going to do. Now, just because a 15-year-old girl is looking more to the point where she wants something that's a little bit older, that boy is still going through his progression. That's a normal step for a boy. But
again, I'm trying to answer the question.
Okay.
Based on, you asked me, is it for this reason? I'm telling you, in my experience, when I was 15, 16 years old, we were not sitting around thinking about some clock ticking because you're just too young. Okay. That's also, we were not sitting around talking about life insurance either.
No, it wasn't.
It's just, we're not that gone in terms of maturity. When I say mental maturity, what I mean is we handle the change of our body better. Meaning you have your wet dream. And that's when you see all the guys come to school and everybody got on sweatpants because everything is uncontrollable. Whereas in the course, women, we can hide.
What do you mean by sweatpants?
Uncontrollable erections, when you're younger. Okay. Once after that puberty,
I don't think that sweatpants would be a good choice of clothing.
I'm going with my experience. I just remember guys coming to school and wasn't nobody wearing nothing tight. They wanted to have as much room, as they possibly could. Whereas with women, whatever we're going through, it's all hidden from everybody.
Correct.
It's hidden from everybody.
Correct. I'll agree with you on that.
And we talk about, we ask, you started your period, whereas guys aren't asking guys, you got your wet dream, so we're talking about, I'm just telling you why I think the mature, because we're talking about at 15, 16, the changes our body's going through, and you understand early, oh, this is true for everybody. It's not just me. Whereas dudes, it's just like, well, I'm sure since I have, he has, but it ain't no topic, no conversation. Whereas some guys haven't. They're like, wait a minute, I'm 15 and I haven't had a wet dream. I don't know what they're talking about. But he ain't gonna say that. Whereas as women, we can just be like, no, I ain't got my period yet. Mm-hmm. Like I can tell you right here, right now, on this will go out to the world. I was approaching my 18th birthday, when my period started.
Yeah, but you was an athlete too.
No, but I'm saying in terms of comfortability, I could have that conversation, with the chicks, like, I hadn't started, my period yet, whereas dudes can't do that. So we're already talking at a more mature level because it's easier, because guys are always going to give guys a hard time. And they could be lying. Like, they could be sitting there giving a dude a hard time about not having a wet dream, and he ain't had his either, because he don't want to be the outcast.
But I think that the wet dream,
and that's immature.
But no, the wet dream scenario is that it's most guys are not going to talk about it because it's an embarrassing moment. So that's just how that is.
But that's the immature piece. Like, I'm telling you, you're embarrassed to have a conversation, among yourselves about a process that all of us will be going through. Whereas on the chick side, we're not embarrassed by, it's a curiosity, like, you too, that type of thing.
But that also goes into the frame of mind. A woman can compliment another woman, and a man just don't do it. A man, the way a man will compliment somebody else to be like, yo, he all right. And that's just how it's immaturity. You say immaturity, I say those are just steps of life that a man
it's
has
not
to go
steps
through.
of life. It
actually
first
is.
of all, if you self-secure, you can
It has nothing to do with self-security.
You can but I've heard thousands of men, that's a good looking brother right there, and I'm not sitting there thinking, because I understand.
How can you gauge a good looking brother though?
Well, I mean, it's the same thing, whatever it's attract, because he said that's a good looking brother right there. Then you turn, you look, he's lined up, got on some nice shoes, that type of thing. And I've heard guys say, I wish I looked like Rick Fox. Rick Fox, it's like Rick Fox is, handsome guy. I've heard guys say, and God knows Morris Chestnut. I mean, and he's a little dude though. He's short. But what I'm saying is, you can look at a complimentary level and be like, what's the difference? I like those shoes. Women say that. I've heard a lot of men be like, dog, I like
nice kicks. Yeah.
I like those shoes, dog.
But that's not complimenting. That's not complimenting a facial feature. That's not complimenting a look.
Yeah, but with women, we don't look at another woman and be like, I love your eyes. We don't compliment that way. That's what I'm saying.
I think that guys just don't talk in that aspect. It doesn't mean that they're immature. It's not typical conversation.
No, I'm saying you're immature if you can't give a compliment to a dude without feeling like you're less than, or you're tender, or you're something. It's just a compliment that's open and closed.
Well, it's based upon the level of that person. If the person's comfortable,
like a well put together. That's a well put together brother right there. He looked like well put together. Like, I'm not sitting there thinking that the guy's in love with him. I just think he's secure enough with himself to be like, he's well put together.
When a guy says, okay, he's well put together, means that, okay, he's making his money. He's doing his thing.
Well, he doesn't know anything about his money. He said, that looks like a well put together brother right there. I look as a woman. We don't know how much money he has. We just know that he has on a nice suit. He got on some nice shoes. He's lined up. He has his jewelry, well put together, brother.
Smelling good.
Yeah, that's all we know. That's it.
And that's a great way to look at it, because from that aspect of it, what you're saying, and that is that women are going to take more detail into the opposite sex, whereas a guy's going to do the same thing in return to a female. We're going to pay more attention to, oh man, she got some nice legs. She has, nice chest. She has a nice butt. She has a pretty face, pretty features, things of that nature. It's just a mindset of how we think. We think differently.
Oh, I'm
You
not
know.
saying don't think differently. I'm just talking about you take the 15-year-old boy
Mhm.
and the 15-year-old girl. He's going to be more emotionally uncomfortable, feeling embarrassed or feeling like he's the odd man out if he's like, have you got your wet dream? Because you can't say that.
But boys don't talk about stuff like that. It's that's not, boys have a hard time because you got to understand at that particular point, your testosterone is kicking in. You really got this. You got a lot of aggression and got a lot of energy that you're trying to identify where it's coming from.
Right. That's why on our side we talk about it. The same thing going on. We now have this rush of estrogen. We like, oh my God, what are these?
Yeah.
But and that's all I'm saying. I think that's where the the glitch and the hitch is. That's all I'm saying. It's sad because where does it ever end? Because that's what a big issue is in relationships, the communication piece, the talking. Well, men, we don't talk, we just worker bees and we're this, we're that. But there's never the just talk. Now, there's more men now that have gotten into therapy. They accept and realize their father not being in their life, that, what, it really did affect me. So they're getting the help. They don't feel as tender. Just saying, I need to talk to somebody to get this out of my head. But that's maturity. They maturity. They mature to the point where they understand, I'm not alone in this. I need to get some help. And I don't care at this point what you think about me and my manhood. I've got to look out for my mental health.
At 11, 12, 13 years old, that's not something that you're thinking about, your mental health status or where you are. You're just thinking about these things that are happening in your body, and you're embarrassed about it because guys are gonna joke about it.
Well, what is the joking about it?
The joking about it is that, you walking around with a stiff one.
But I'm saying that's the immaturity piece.
But that's where you say is immaturity. That's a part of being a man.
No. Men
born and developing into a man.
Men, including you, there's 3 words that men don't like to hear.
What's that?
And they're gonna fight you on it.
What's that?
If you say immature, because you don't want to look at yourself as ever have been immature, ever. Like I was always mature. Yeah. So if we say immature, it's like nah, it ain't that. And if we say the word vulnerable, nah, I ain't vulnerable. That ain't why I ain't vulnerable. And then if you say the word jealous, oh no, I ain't jealous. But then if I ask you to explain it, because in the United States, the Webster's Dictionary, we have definition. Okay. And based on the behavior, your actions, your words, it fits this definition that translate into the word immaturity.
Okay. So immaturity. So when you get a 25, 26-year-old woman, and she knows the situation offhand, but then all of a sudden she catch feelings, is that a level of immaturity? Because ahead that this is how it was. So you came into the situation knowing that, hey, we are cool, we are friends with benefits, whatever the scenario may be. But then all of a sudden you want to change the narrative on it. You knew everything that was in front of you. So is that a form of immaturity? Because you're not accepting the concept of where we are. And you have a choice. You can choose not to deal with that situation anymore. But if you're going to complain about the situation knowing,
it's a level of immaturity on both sides.
How is it on both sides?
For the woman, it very well could be emotionally immature in terms of handling her feelings and, falling in love or being sprung or whatever. It's a level of immaturity on the guy's behalf because he thinks that whatever we were on, what's today's day? March the 26th.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we were March the 26th, 2023, we're the same March the 26th, 2024. And then he's saying, well, your feelings should not have grown. Nothing should have changed. I know it's been a year, but it's like it's been a year. And no, she didn't catch feelings over the course of a year, because I told you this, we had this conversation. You can only cut if the only communication is, I'm at home, you coming over right now. And then you don't ever talk, don't ever see one another, no communication at all until, hey, you coming over. That's the only way, because feelings are not going to develop. But you're not the guy that can be cutting, okay, it's her birthday. Happy birthday. You said happy birthday. Merry Christmas. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy New Year. And then she may call and say, damn, I just had to spend $300-400, getting this car fixed or whatever. So you're talking about a life stressor car. They happen, it breaks down. Okay. And then as the man, you give us some advice, what you might want to do to prevent this in the future is keep your oil changed on a regular basis. Okay. Now it looks like y'all just having a conversation, to change the oil or whatever. But that's what people do when they have an affinity for one another. They interact, you don't hate her. She's not bad people. You're not saying. But
it's something that's making you not move forward.
Well, again, and sometimes the guy's just married. That's why they can't.
We're not talking about marriage. We're talking about a guy where they are equally in a situation.
No, I'm saying whatever the reason is for not, quote unquote, moving forward, doesn't negate the fact that in a year you have had different interaction beyond the bedroom. Because I always ask guys, outside of you saying we are a couple, what is it that you do differently with this one that you would be doing, quote unquote, with your woman?
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Because I see guys out with, we just kicking it, or they might be in the same place at the same time, and then, they leave together. They wake up to one another, and then, blah, 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 blah. And I'm saying, sometimes you're in a relationship, whether you recognize it, believe it, or agree to it or not, because it's a relation. You're relating. But I know that most people, if we ain't talked about it and touched and agree, because it takes two people to agree that is a relationship, but only one person can terminate it. You notice how that works?
But let me clear up some things first.
Clear it up, James.
Okay. I think that when a person, maybe some men, they will be very comfortable in the position of where they are. There's no ties, there's no, we do what we do. The one area that I think that a lot of guys do, and that they're not as open and honest. They might, and what I mean by that, and that is that if I'm dealing with someone who I don't like certain things about her, but I just deal with it. It's not you being honest to yourself, because really and truthfully, if it bothers you, you need to bring it up in conversation. If the things that are bothering you don't change, then you need to be open and say, hey, listen, it doesn't mean that we are bad people. You're a bad person. I'm a bad person. It's just not a good fit. And I think that you have to be able to do the vetting process to vet a person before you get engaged in as far as relationships, because of the simple fact that, you see the trueness of a person when you've been around them, after they done used the bathroom, after they done had that first, poop around you. That's when you realize and recognize, is this someone that I can deal with? When the makeup comes off, when the cologne from the guy wears out, and you sitting over there looking at this person like, I really can't stand your ass. That type of thing. Can you work with one another and build something with one another? I think that's where you have to get to the point of. And if you are not able to do that, then you have to be honest with yourself and say, hey, listen, it's just not working.
I don't know. I think a lot of things are relative to where you are. And what I mean by that is, because I have noticed since I've lived here in Georgia, the metropolitan area, I have noticed even the below average in terms of looks, earning potential, athleticism, conversation, you name it, he is at the lower end of the pendulum.
What do you mean he's at the lower end?
I'm telling you, he's at the lower end. Athleticism, earning potential, looks, conversation. He's at the lower end of the pendulum.
From a female standpoint, right?
Well, unless he's dating a man, yeah.
Okay. But he's still dating.
No.
And what I mean by he's still dating female.
Please let me finish this one.
Okay.
He's on the lower end.
Okay. Meaning,
I've always said, can you put your show on the road? Because if there's more apples to pick over here, than the competition over there, then you're going to go where, because there is still low-hanging fruit and fruit that's already on the ground. And then, you got the big, beautiful one that's up in the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying the below average guy on all ends of the spectrum is running, 2 or 3, different women. That same guy probably wouldn't do well in DC, where there's a little more competition, in terms of, available, women today. Because he's not going to probably get looked at twice. He just won't, because again, he's on the lower end there. He might be considered top choice relative to where he is. And that's why I said I think it's relative to where you are, with some of these guys. And I tell them, I'd be like, I don't know why you're so arrogant. I don't know where this is coming from. Because I like a confident man, but not a delusional man. See, there's a difference. There's a difference between confidence and delusion. And I think what ends up happening, but they know, just like a guy that beats women, you notice he can always pick that woman that he can control. Like, they know what they're looking for.
So
they can see it.
And
then they come over here to where the dimes are, where the gems are.
Uh-huh.
And then they just think because because self-esteem is real. It's a real thing. And sometimes men and women settle because their self-confidence, their self-worth. You take the woman, some women don't embrace, their full figure or whatever. And so they just feel like, I just got to take this dude. And so they do. And she worships him. She washes his feet. She tries to hold on to him for dear life because she hadn't had anybody in years. But it goes to his head. So he now thinks he can go on out here and try for Beyonce.
Okay. So let me rewind it for us, man. Delusion is the fact that a woman can think that she's a 10 when she's actually a 5 or maybe a 3. And that's delusion. And delusion is when a woman thinks that it's about her happiness and negates the fact that there is another party that has to also be happy. I think the worst thing that has ever been said is when it says happy wife, happy life. It should be happy spouse, happy house, because 2 parties should be happy. And when it's only one side that's happy.
Well, I don't agree with the happy thing.
But I'm just saying that
you got to sound a mental health therapist, and I know that happiness is relative to what's going on.
Correct.
That's why I never look for somebody to make me happy. And no, I just want to be happy. Well, you get a phone call that someone died. Well, what happened to the happiness?
Correct. But what I'm trying to, the thing about it is that when we're talking about delusion and we're talking about,
oh, it's definitely on both sides.
Yeah.
But I don't date women. So when I'm talking, and
you're speaking from a female standpoint, I'm speaking from a male.
Because I have fives, as you would call them, but God knows they think that they're 125.
Yeah.
But
and you can't tell her.
You can't tell them nothing.
You can't tell them
because
anything.
They got these other women blowing them up, and they think something is wrong with you because you don't see what these other women see. And maybe we see exactly. Maybe that woman don't see what we see.
Yeah.
But I usually tell them, like, get out of it, can you take your show on the road? And I know at a confident level, guys are like, yeah, but really, because you see them, you see the same, fives. You see they behave real differently. I'm talking about man and woman. Mm-hmm. They behave real differently when they are in a room full of dimes.
Yeah, you definitely understand, when you're a five. Mm-hmm. And now you might not want to realize it or
no, they realize it. They just don't admit it.
Yeah.
Outward.
I think that it's funny because we've known each other for a long time, and my demeanor. You know what I'm saying? I come into a spot, I'm not trying to downplay anybody. I'm not trying to do anything. I just treat everybody.
Because you know who's a 10.
Who?
Straight down.
Who?
This person that you don't too much care for.
Oh, you funny. You funny.
But she does. She thinks she's beyond a dime.
Yeah, you can't tell her she's not. You can't tell her she's not a 12. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And I think that for every person there's somebody out there for them.
Every pot has its lid.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that I've had conversations with guys, and guys be like, man, that don't matter to me, and that don't matter to me, and I'm like, we're good, and I'm like, dude, at the end of the day, I asked the question, and some guys, the response that they gave me showed me that you really are not her first choice. And there's a lot of people that is in relationships, whereas that person was not the first choice of who they wanted to be with.
Well, I don't know that there's any real significance to that. And the reason why I say that is because, it's great if our grandparents and great-grandparents, see, they could court at age 14, get married at 16, and be together for 50 years and literally die together.
Sounds a little different.
Because if you've ever been in love before, if you've ever been engaged before, even if you've been married and divorced, and married again, I mean, I think everybody has dealt with someone not being their first choice.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean? Like,
okay, so the best way to look at it is this. When I was younger, and a hell of a lot smaller, athletic.
Smaller?
Yeah, I was smaller. Yeah, I was about maybe 195, 200.
Ladies, you heard it here.
Yeah, I was about 190. No, nothing like that. So,
nothing like what?
Well, you heard it here, ladies. All that kind of stuff.
The only thing you said was you were smaller.
Yeah.
You see, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We can't say nothing as women without. I mean, I'm not talking about your baby leg, James. I don't know nothing about you and your baby leg. We're sisters and brothers.
I got that.
So what you talking about? Nothing like that. What you talking about?
I'm just saying that a young lady that I knew, she said to me, and I took it as an insult. So we were digging each other, and she says, she was referencing to what's the little show that used to come on with when Huxtable's daughter went to college. Different world. And so, do you remember the guy that Whitley used to date?
I didn't watch the show.
I think his name was Julian.
I didn't watch the show.
And so she referred to me as you are Julian, but I know that Dwayne Wayne is going to always be there. And I took that as an insult, because at the end of the day, I try to be a sound guy. I try to be a good man. And so for you to sit here and come up and say to me, oh, you somebody that I might want to walk around with, show off, that type of deal, and not look at me as anything that's solid, that was an insult to me. Because, I'm the type of person where is that I try to go in through life. I'm your 6, you my 12. And we're going to go back to back, and we're going to handle whatever comes in front of us. Now, I don't need to be sitting here looking at bullets coming this way, and then all of a sudden bullets start coming from behind. When I turn around, you over in the corner somewhere, because that means that we're not in this together. And I think that men and women we look for two different things. A man is looking for someone that's going to be a nurturer, someone who's going to be has feminine attributes, someone that he can come to with an issue or concern about anything, and he doesn't realize that it's going to be gaslighted anyway. Reason why I say this: I had a conversation with a guy today, and we were sitting there talking. He was talking about hiring someone, and he says, "How is it that I can't hire a female secretary to kind of run my, help me out running stuff?" And this young lady said, "Well, it's always going to be a problem if a man has a female secretary, and don't let her be attractive, because it's going to create issues and insecurities with the significant other, spouse, or girlfriend." That's not maturity. Maturity is about understanding the fact that he needs help.
Well,
she's not able to give him that help.
That's clearly a very narrow view.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm listening to you, and the first thing entered my mind is, you probably can't find somebody because you're cheap and you're not willing to pay the type of person you need top dollar. Like these women that can type, 60 words a minute and all of that kind of stuff and multitask, you got to pay them. That's what went through my mind. But you see, another chick was like, oh, well, it's going to be a problem if she, if a woman does not know her place with you, it's going to always be a problem. If she knows her place with you, because you've done a great job of having her know her place with you, she can be as beautiful as she wants to be. She can be as beautiful as she wants to be. I know my place with you. It's when she don't know her place, the insecurities are there, and both sides always want to know, how does the person work? Because you don't want to be humiliated. Like, yes, of course, if he says he cheated on me with Angela Bassett, okay. But if you go over here and it's Lizzo, like, okay. She got more money than me. That, like, wow, just based on attractiveness.
Oh,
and then, because dudes and said it, she with this dude, he don't even wash his ass every day, and blah 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 blah. That type of thing. Because if you date or if you're cheated on, you want to go up. Like, you're okay if you quote unquote think or feel or believe that you lost out to a cat that's on your level or above.
Okay.
Like, okay.
So I'm gonna beg to differ on that, and I'm gonna throw a couple of names at you. First of all, what you got? Well, the one major name that everybody knows about is when you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. He messed around with a woman who was not more attractive than his wife. You got to think about it. He was married to Maria Shriver.
No, I'm trying to understand what you're asking.
It didn't matter. He didn't mess up. He messed down.
No, the matter comes with the woman because she's the one that's cheated on. Like Maria is sitting there saying, "But damn, was I that bad?" Because what people don't understand is cheating is a character defect. It ain't got nothing to do with the spouse or the girlfriend or the boyfriend. That's just the excuse that a person can feel better. Cognitive dissonance. That's why a slave owner, a slave master, could do what he did. See, if I look at you as nothing more than a glass, well, this glass don't have any thoughts, feelings, or emotions. So I can throw it up against the wall, right?
Okay.
I can just beat it, take this whip, beat you down. I can perform brain, to see what the human skull looked like with no anesthesia. I can just drill something in your head, because this woman, this is a black woman. I mean, she doesn't have a soul. She doesn't have feelings. So I can, although she's screaming, yelling, and she's in pain, but you'll be all right. And it's the same thing. When someone, cheats, it's not anything that the other person was doing or not doing. The cognitive dissonance kick in and say, well, I did this because you wasn't cooking and you wasn't cleaning and you wasn't making love. So that's why I did it. That ain't why you did it.
Okay. So I beg to differ on that, and I'm gonna tell you why. I think that when you look at scenarios, especially like if you've been in corporate America, and I've been in corporate America for a long time, and the one thing that I can sit here and truly tell you, and that is that when you sitting in that lunchroom and females are talking about men that cheat, the first thing that comes out, oh, he's a dog, he's no good, he's this, he's that. But if you flip that over and say the female now is the one that's cheating, the first thing that some females will say is that, yeah, girl, get you. I mean, what he wasn't doing.
No, well,
And that's a
no, but James, both sides are saying. Both sides are saying. If I had one nickel for every time a guy had said why he did what he did and blamed the woman, I would be a billionaire.
Yeah.
It's on both sides.
And that's why I say you have to be very cautious about who you bring into your life. Have the conversations about what are the plans. If I'm at a point where I'm saying, hey, listen, I really don't want to be tied down in no type of situation. We get together when we get together, then that's telling you up front. Now, if you choose to deal with that, you've made a choice to say, I can deal with that. But I will respect you a hell of a lot more if you say, you know what? It's nothing against you. That's just not for me.
Well, you know what's not talked about? It's not talked about. It's just like when you think about groupies, the first thing everybody think about is professional athletes, particularly NBA, NFL, groupies.
Baseball, yeah.
Artists. Because nobody's talking about the male groupies that are out there. It's not as sensational, but they exist.
They do exist.
They're out there.
I mean, there's groupies and everything. I mean,
right, but I'm talking about it's not talked about in the same vein. It's always like the woman is the groupie, because when you start talking about men that are groupies, well, the men certainly don't want to hear it. And what I mean by that is when you start talking about the cheater, in the relationship and why it happened, so to speak. No one really wants to hear that you did it because of me, something with me.
Okay.
And you were saying that you beg, to differ. Only thing I'm saying is you did what you wanted to do, period.
Okay. So if a person comes to another person, if you come to a guy and say, hey, listen, I need for you to do this, A, B, C, and D. 2 or 3 months pass. Hey, remember I talked to you about A, B, C, and D. A year's passed. Hey, A, B, and C is still not working. And what will happen is that you will feel unappreciated. Because if I'm having a conversation with you and I'm trying to talk to you about something that is an issue for me, and you just basically sitting there saying, I don't care about what your issues are, what you're thinking about, how you want what you want me to do.
Again, now we're talking about maturity.
But if that's the case, then we wouldn't be going through divorces the way you do.
No, it is because of immaturity. Because here's what I mean. If your needs aren't met, you telling a person, this is, and your needs aren't met. I just don't know by saying, I slept with Charles because you didn't do A, B, and C is really, it's just a cop-out.
I agree.
It can't be, well, you didn't do this, so that's why I'm with Sheila. And back to my other point, it's not talked about. But it's not just the woman that has caught feelings. Both people enter in, you know what it is. You know what it is when you sign up. But see, what men do that's not talked about, you'll get the proverbial text. Oh, I seen you at the spot, but it looked like you was with someone, and that's why I ain't come over and speak. I ain't trying to cause no problems. Okay,
that's a passive aggressive. That's a passive aggressive behavior.
No, that's also the behavior of someone that has caught feelings.
Yeah,
because otherwise,
you're right, and maybe they can't identify. Maybe they think that they will be okay with what they are, but they actually are not. And I completely understand. And at that point, they need to go through some type of self-evaluation and realign themselves and make a decision to say, hey, listen, you know what? I saw you with someone. This is how I felt about it. If I can't get past it, then I have to move on. And because I don't want to take, it's obvious that you're entertaining other people. And if you're entertaining other people.
Well, she, of course, is entertaining because we've already agreed that we ain't nothing but what we get together and do when we're together.
Correct.
But only point that I'm making is it's just not talked about. It's always talking about what the woman gets feelings. But it's because the woman isn't airing out in the lounge and all of these different places. The fact that, you caught feelings also. And sometimes the dude is caught feelings and the woman hasn't caught feelings.
Yeah, then he needs to evaluate that situation and be like, okay, if it's not something that I want, move on.
But I'm not upset or shocked or surprised by two human beings interacting, mentally, emotionally, and sexually. And then a year later that some feelings are involved. That's the evolution of people as a human being. Be concerned about the man or the woman that can interact at that level with multiple people and truly have no feelings. See, we know those people as personality disorders. Those are your antisocial behavior. Those are your narcissistic personality traits. Those are your sociopaths. They truly don't have any feelings about it whatsoever.
They have no filter.
Right. Those in our society are people that end up a lot of times in mental health hospitals for treatment to get back balance. Those are people that sometimes we know them as serial killers. They just went on off the cliff, So the fact that two mentally stable people develop feelings, we cast such a negative thing on that. That's normal for human beings. The abnormal is that you can philander around and like I had a homeboy, I ain't gonna say his name because he watched the show. Yes, I'm talking about you. he's always like, man, she caught feelings, and she's tripping. And I said to him, look, you have been messing around with this woman for 2 years.
Okay.
You have met her family. You give her birthday gifts. Y'all exchange Christmas gifts. All of these relationship-oriented things. When you a little short, with your paychecks, she bridges the gap for you. You've borrowed, her car. No, I just gave him the rundown of what I know to be true.
Okay.
And you are up in arms because after 2 years of being there for you, she has broken the agreement that you all had 2 years ago.
And what's
because the agreement has to include, we're not going to acknowledge birthdays. Don't call me with no happy birthday. Don't call me with this. Don't call me. And that just seems so nasty and brutal. But nobody puts it out there like that.
Okay. So the thing about it is that if you got someone that's sitting there saying, hey, I don't want you to acknowledge any birthdays, I don't want Valentine's
holidays,
nothing. Then at that particular time, whoever the individual is, that they need to make a choice that this is not the best thing for them. And they say, hey, I'm going to walk away.
Most men and women will 99, I dare say 100% of the time will make the right decision if they have all the information. But no guy that's trying to get between a woman's legs is going to say all of that because he knows she's going to be like.
Nowadays, maybe back in the days when we were younger.
Let me rephrase this. I know that there are exceptions to the rule, but that doesn't mean that the rule don't apply. Those are the exceptions to the rule. And what I'm saying is this, 45 and up, if they are man or woman out here, if they have so much time that they can run around and philander and still be doing this, I'll also show you somebody that don't have any kind of real retirement plan. I can go through their life and show you what it's going to look like, when they're 60, 62, 63, 65. Because you obviously have time that you've never slowed down long enough to focus on, hey, my body ain't going to be as tight. I'm not going to be king, ding, slingaling. Stuff is going to slow down on me or whatever, because you do those things early enough to prepare for that. And so hats off to these men and women that are 50 and up, that, philandering around and all of those things. And if you got all your shit together, then you got your shit together. It's a different conversation. Those are not the people we're talking about. That's the only thing I'm saying. But you can't lay down with a person. The only thing I'm saying is you're not going to go up to a 50-year-old woman that got all of her ducks in a row.
Okay.
Theoretically could retire if she just wanted to. Okay. You're not going to go up to her and say, look, I want to have sex with you, period. But calling you even the next day after we have sex, acknowledging your birthday, you acknowledging mine, any of that. Don't be calling, asking me to go here, there, here, whatever. I guarantee you, she's going to tell you where you can go.
Okay, so to that statement, there are some that will.
No, I'm not talking about the exception. I told you the exception is the exception.
The exception is
but the rules still apply.
No, the rules still apply there. If a guy is 50 years old and he chooses not to get involved and get engaged with someone, then that's fine.
No, that's fine. It is fine. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he needs to tell all the information so she can then make that decision.
Okay.
But they're not going to get what they want if they just divulge everything.
Okay. And I would beg to differ. The reason why I say that is because this is literally what happened. I'm sitting in a cigar shop. Oh,
I don't put you in the equation.
I'm not putting me in the equation.
I'm
not putting me in the equation at all. I'm going to tell you about a conversation firsthand. This is not secondhand. This is firsthand.
I don't want to hear about a conversation because those are the exceptions, James. I'm saying on the average, it ain't gonna happen, James.
Okay.
It ain't gonna happen. Will
on
it
the
happen?
Average, it won't happen.
Like the law average says, if I say this, if I put it all out there, if I be like, look, don't call me, I'll call you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only calling you when I want sex.
Okay.
If you see on Facebook is my birthday, don't send me nothing. I ain't trying to let nobody know that I got anything going on with you.
Okay.
Okay. The law of average says there will be one. The law of average says why do you think they have a series in basketball? 4 out of 7. Because they already know that March Madness. It was it San Diego State?
Okay.
Beat Alabama, right?
Yeah.
The number 1 overall seed,
mm-hmm.
right? They beat them. They're out of the tournament, right? This is the law average. The law average says if Alabama, San Diego State plays 10 times, they'll win 2 games.
Okay.
They'll win 2 games because over time, generally the better team is going to win more of those games.
Correct.
So that's the only thing that I'm saying. I
know
that
in the law of average, if a person is involved with another person and they keep going through the same scenario, over the law of average, they should eventually find someone.
That's what happens. That's why the feelings are caught, because she'll be able to tell you she engages like that. That's why she engages with you with the cut buddy thing. Okay. And she'll tell you, I don't know what it is, but I've caught feelings for you. Because the only thing she knows is the other 9 times she didn't. And same thing with the guy. I don't know. It's just something about you. Like, I can't believe I got caught up or whatever. It's just the law of averages catches up.
Okay. So at that point, you have to make a rational decision to say, hey, you know what? I know we agreed to the point where as we were not going to catch feelings, but we did catch feelings. And at that point, that's when you make moves to solidify your union. Okay.
If both agree. If you don't agree, then the one that has admitted, look, I've caught feelings, and that's not what you want. You haven't caught feelings. Your law averages ain't caught up to you. Okay. Then you have to go the extra mile to really show that person that you're serious about, no, that means if they call, because they're still going to call, they're still going to try to engage because they've already told you, I have these feelings.
Correct.
I think if you're what I call a sly, tricky dog, if you continue to engage when she's divulged, when she's been honest, look, I know what I said 2 years ago,
correct,
but this is how I feel today. And you continue to engage with her. And then say, well, I told her I ain't feel the same way. Okay, well, you shouldn't have took the $10,000 to start your business. She did that because she told you, because I have fallen in love with you. I want what's best for you. And if you don't want that, block that number, whatever. Then guys say, well, I don't want to hurt her feelings. No, you got to hurt her feelings. Because that's going to be better for her in the long run.
Okay. And that's in a perfect situation, that's exactly how it's supposed to work. But we are talking about feelings and emotions, and sometimes people are not mature to be able to handle.
I told you
their emotions and their
feelings. I told you that. I know.
Exactly so if that's the case, then we have a lot of immature people that are in relationships. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day,
well, it's stages of the relationship.
So you got to think about it. If I'm sitting here and I'm saying, man, this shit it's just too much. it's too much. It's too much. I have to make a decision and say, hey, you know what? If it's not too much, am I looking at it strictly just from my way of it? If I'm not looking at it strictly from my way of it, and I'm looking at it from an overall standpoint, then I have to say, you know what? It doesn't mean that you or myself is a bad person. It just means that we are not a good fit. And whereas we thought that we was a good fit, you have to be honest and say, hey, you know what? The reason why we're not moving forward is because as a man, you're a little too frivolous with your money. You don't know how. You're not trying to save anything. You're not trying to think about our retirement, our golden ages.
You're talking about two people that are actually in a relationship.
Correct. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And it can be, the time comes where after a year, you see the same inconsistencies with finances, affection, emotion, all trauma, all of those different type of things, and they still have not went out to try to seek help, with meaning therapy. You got a lot of people, men and women, who say, I don't need a therapist, but they do, because at the end of the day, you have to understand and recognize, okay, if things are not working, first of all, am I doing anything that's creating this situation?
Right.
And you got to be perfectly honest with yourself. But what we're talking about people will automatically want to put the blame on someone else. Oh,
I told you cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
It's this happened because of you.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with me.
And you have to be able to look in the mirror. You have to be able to look in the mirror. For you to be an effective anything, you have to be able to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I effed this up. I messed this up. I did this, and make the necessary changes to say, you know what, I'm going to be a better person. Now, coming to the conclusion of saying that I'm going to be a better person is also recognizing the fact that I don't want to continue to linger you or hold you on. Because if we have two different mindsets about what it is that we're trying to do, I have to respect the fact that what your feelings are.
Well, nobody ever really, when I find myself locked away in these discussions, they only last maybe 5 or 6 minutes, because they don't ever really want to. They think that they want to hear what I have to say up until I say it, because you know me, I'll just say, well, why don't you just leave?
Yeah.
You're not going to change them, but you can certainly change
your outcome.
How you respond to them. I've never seen so many people stay in the situations that they
unhappy
harp about.
They're unhappy.
I stay away from happy versus unhappy, because those are just a stage of a relationship, to battle through. We're mislabeling sometimes. We're mislabeling the actual issue as the emotion is, I'm unhappy. The feeling is devalued.
Okay.
And so, with that being said, I really don't think that this person respects me. And then you should be making a decision based on that.
I think that there's a lot of different things that come into place. Sometimes, and I'm pretty sure a lot of men can attest to this. Sometimes we don't want to hurt someone's feelings, but by not being truthful is making the situation worse. And meaning that, there's a lot of people that are in relationships that they are not, we ain't gonna say happy, but it's not a good, even situation. But they'll still stay into it because they either don't want to start over.
But what do we tell our children? We raise our children. We instill in our children, our nieces and nephews, that in life, things are going to happen.
Yeah.
You try to prepare them to go out and navigate in the world, that things are going to happen. There are going to be some people that like you. There are going to be some people that dislike you, and you ain't done nothing to have
Sure.
people. You've done nothing to have them like you or dislike you, but
They just don't like you.
Yeah, people decided, or they like you, and you've done nothing to help them in the process of liking you.
Correct.
But you're teaching that you're gonna have a job that you hate going to.
Yep.
You're gonna have a job that you love. It's not even gonna feel like work. But when it comes to relationships, interpersonal relationships and cohabitating, then we fall back into a pattern that we didn't even instill in our own children, which was, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but you've told your kids all their life, preparing them to go out in the world. People are going to disappoint you. They're going to hurt your feelings. They're going to lie to you. They're going to take you for granted. But then in the face of it, it's like, well, I'm not going to do this because I don't want to hurt their feelings. She'll put on her big girl panties, and hopefully with the right interventions for her, she will bounce back. Or him.
But everybody doesn't take disappointment the same way. And you got some people that get violent.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
With any hope and luck, they will get the right intervention to deal and handle with the breakup.
Okay.
But you still got to go ahead, and break up. And they don't get violent. They have shown you violence along the journey, but it was ignored.
I'm gonna say something to you. There's a large percentage of guys that are in jail right now because of that, not understanding how to deal with their emotions. They walk in, they see their lady with somebody, hugged up to somebody.
Well, usually
they can't deal with it.
In my cases, and sadly, this is starting early. I think now, at the mental health hospital, how many 19 to 35 are in there, and I read the chart, and it's my girlfriend broke up with me. My girlfriend broke up with me. My girlfriend
they can't handle it.
Broke up with me.
They can't handle it because
they did come because they said they felt like they were either going to really hurt themselves or someone.
Or hurt someone, yeah.
See, that's the right intervention.
Yeah. But you have to be at a certain mindset to be able to identify the fact that I'm going through some problems.
Right.
There's a large percentage of people out here that don't even recognize that they have a problem.
Right. And those are also the same people that always seem to want to be in a relationship too.
Well, it's just like, some people say the old saying, a piece of man is still a man, a part of a man. And it's about what you identify to. Some people are okay with that guy doing whatever, that female doing whatever.
As long as they come home.
And the problem is that that's not a good place to be in. Because what you should want is when you come to your home, you should want peace and serenity. You should want an opportunity for you to reset, because that the next day that you got to get out there and hit that grind. So you don't want to come home to trauma. You don't want to come home to a situation whereas you don't have a peace of mind.
Here we go again. Very few cases I have had where the person did not know that the person was damaged pretty much in the first 30 days of the relationship.
But it's cute.
It's cute. No, I'm saying if a woman tells you, my ex, cheated on me and beat me and the children and put cigarettes out on our back and stayed out all night and would choke me and make me give him all the paycheck and blah blah. Okay. She's told you that I had a lot going on in this past relationship. But if she don't follow that up with, and I'm ready to date now, I've gone through, my therapy, I've healed or whatever. Um, and so I'm ready, to date now. At least she's told you. But usually they don't say that because they've done nothing other than, the restraining order, jail or whatever. Or maybe he just met somebody else completely. It's over. However, it's over. She's done nothing. Um, and I've watched guy after guy after guy go into those situations because the part that she didn't tell you was all the things that she was also doing.
Correct.
That we were physical with one another.
Correct.
She'll say, he hit me, but she just leaves out the fact, okay, she hit him back. And then they were sorry. I love you, baby. We ain't gonna do that again. Nobody, see, again, most people with all the information, can make the right decision. And then you have the exceptions that even with all the information in the world, they, I think as men, you all call them Captain Saver, and in women, we are notorious. We will,
Build a bear.
Yeah, build a bear and prop him up. And like I remember talking to a lady, again, I don't say names. She's proud of the fact that she was there for her man. And they went on, to get married. But she told me the evolution of the relationship. And I didn't say anything because, certainly to each his own. I know because women rationalize, if I just hang in there, and I be his all and everything, eventually he will choose me. And he will, because if he could have chosen someone else before you, he would have.
But it goes vice versa.
Right. I mean, everything that I've ever said applies to both sides of the equation. But people do it all the time. And then when it doesn't work out, they're shocked or surprised when it was built on water in the first place. And we know anything that's built on water, if it's too heavy, it's going to what?
Drown.
Sink. And then if it ain't heavy enough,
it's going to float.
It floats. But they'll
floats away.
Yeah, they'll do it anyway.
So
why?
The question is that a lot of people that are in relationships are not really mentally set to be in relationships. They want the companionship, but they don't understand everything that goes involved. They don't understand everything that goes into having being in a relationship, calling a person significant other, a wife, a girlfriend, things of that nature. They just look at what they think, either from TV or what they've learned from the streets or what they see from their parents. That's what they think that's what that is. So if you have a lot of situations whereas people are being brought up in single parent households and they don't see the unity, they don't see mother and father together, they're warped in the beginning of dating anyway, because they are not able to identify something that they can relate to, that they can see, know. And I think that when you look at a situation and you say, hey, that's, I always say, whenever you want to find out about a person, check out how their parents are. You'll see what type of trauma they went through growing up. And, we as in people, we're first to say, oh man, I'm all right, I'm good. Especially men have a tendency to try to bottle that up. Oh, I'm good. It didn't affect me, because it shows a sign of weakness. And it's, a lot of men, I ain't gonna say all men, but a lot of men have this air about themselves that, it didn't affect me. But the jail system shows that different. No, the jail system shows that you're an emotional person. You reacted based upon an emotion. It was this article, this little podcast I was looking at, and these guys said this. Yeah, he said, man, he did a 25-year bid, and when he was in there, old head came and he said, hey man, how long did it take you to get in this situation? And it was a matter of minutes.
Well,
So
I've always kind of said that, that I tell men this anytime they go down that road and it didn't affect me, and I'll just say something like, so you always sit around and talk to perfect strangers in a cigar lounge about personal battle that you've had with your relationship. The fact that you're talking to me, and the only thing I've done is sat down here and lit up a cigar, lets me know that it has affected you.
but let's be realistic. I think the thing about it is that if a guy comes in and he starts telling you all his business, 9 times out of 10,
that's the effect, right?
He's trying to he either needs to speak to someone and is looking for somebody to back his side of it.
But that's the effect. You're talking about it in a lounge among strangers.
Correct.
And I just don't, you need to embrace the fact that you obviously need to deal with this.
Right.
I can't help you.
Correct.
But I can help you if you choose to take my advice. And my advice is, go sit down and talk to somebody and get it all out and put it on the table so you can make sense of it. Because right now, what do we know is true about? There's only one thing that can mess up the cigar that you're smoking.
Oh yeah.
And that's
horrible conversation, man.
That's the person sitting beside you.
Yeah, that they can mess it, because everybody has their opinions and everybody has their views and everybody has their different nuances about everything. I think that people have to just be able to understand that, recognize your time is your time, and you choose to be around people that you want to be around. I don't have to, I've been very considerate in regards to people that I might don't care for, but I'll give them the benefit of, hey, how's everything going? I don't care anything about it. But, and I'm definitely not one of them type of guys that come in and be like, oh man, I don't like so-and-so. Well, why you don't like them? Because to me, that's some other issues. If you can sit here and say to somebody, well, I don't like that person. Why don't you like that person? Oh, well, they just always, got something to say. But you sitting here saying a lot. And that goes back to the same scenario. Nobody wants to look at self first. They want to put the blame on someone else.
Yeah, I've certainly had people over the stretch of my life tell me that they don't like me. And my response has always been the same. And then they walk away really not liking me. But I just say, look, you don't like yourself, so who am I? And then I just kind of keep,
how do young folks say, who hurt you?
Yeah. you don't even like yourself. What a surprise. What a surprise. You don't like me. You don't even like you.
But, I love the networking cigar industry because it gives you an opportunity to really sit back and as you sit back smoking your cigar and you see people come in and they telling the lies and you automatically know it's a lie. Just like the old saying, what is it smoke? All I smoke is Cubans. That's a lie. Oh, well, I'm big. I've been doing this for a while. What are you smoking? Oh, I smoke this brand. Oh, I smoke this. All I smoke is flavors. Yo, you're not a aficionado.
It's like a who cares?
Yeah.
Because you go to, if you get out of the United States, you're going to be hard pressed to go in a lounge and see someone, even with the band on, because it's supposed to eliminate the social economic status. It's supposed to be about gathering, having that good conversation, enjoying, the cigar, and relaxation and decompressing.
Yeah.
But you got people, I don't know, not everybody, but like I was telling this guy, I said, hey, you might want, I said, I can appreciate you've worked hard. You and your wife, you'll have a beautiful home. Mm-hmm. I just don't think you should be posting it on Facebook because These hackers, man, these people are better at, finding out where you
Where
live
you live.
than you are at posting.
Yeah.
Oh, if they come up in my house, they gonna get shot up, this, that, and the other. Yeah, well, chances are, um, it might just be your wife there who may not exactly
Know how to handle herself.
and it's not even a matter, I know how to handle myself, but I have to see it coming. I have to see and know that it's coming. Um, you know, most people, most people don't really, walk outside to throw something in the garbage can, locked and loaded and looking around and come out with a bag and drop it in and go back in the house. Most people don't exactly do that, because if you're fortunate, you have the feeling that you live in a safe neighborhood and you don't have to be strapped just to go right outside your door, 3 feet and just throw and then it's a beautiful morning, you're just going to put the garbage out and that's when they strike. Now your wife is raped and dead, and it's all because you were posting where you live and stuff on Facebook, and all your ammunition, is still in the house where it was. And whatever you got with you, you got it on you, because we should be able to step right outside of our door and just put the garbage in the garbage and come in without. Most houses are broken in during the day.
Yeah.
Why? Because people at work.
Yeah.
If you just happen to be there on the day off, somebody could strike, right?
Yeah.
It goes back to Ahmaud Arbery. He's running in a neighborhood. It had the air of that it was safe. And it was, but not for him or somebody that might look like him. And those are the things that I'm talking about. We go for the home run. We want the people to be like, oh my God, nice house. Oh, you're doing it. You're doing it big. I see you, big man. But we don't look at and really pay attention to the era that we live in.
Correct.
Jealousy, envy is real.
Yeah.
And people might want to just teach you a lesson because they haven't prepared and earned, to get the finer things in life. And they think that you're rubbing it in their face. And you're not doing that. But their mind is twisted.
It's warped.
And then it's like, why? Like, I know a guy, he posts every time he cut his grass, because and he has a beautiful lawn. It is beautiful. But for me, it still goes to the why.
Those are people who want to be, they're looking for somebody to give them flowers. They're looking for somebody to acknowledge. They're living their life through social media. Anytime that you go through social media and you're looking for people to say, great, 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 and everything that you say is not going to be great. Every conversation that you have is not going to be a good conversation. Every conversation is not going to be all flowers and daffodils. Some situations are going to be bad because you have to be able to balance yourself out. Whenever you have people that are walking around posting everything, they're trying to get acknowledgement from somebody else.
Like, and it's on Facebook. I mean, we all know. Like, I got like 3,000-4,000 friends. No, I don't. But this is also the same guy every Sunday during football season.
Mm-hmm.
He's posted up where he's at. And
he ain't at home.
Right.
If he had a sports ball, he ain't at home.
No, but that's what I'm saying. He's not at home.
Correct.
And his wife might be. Now I know where you are because you told me, you showed me, and I know you get ready to be there for 3-4 hours with the game on, and I'm going to your house.
I can take my time.
Yeah, but and then people won't even. They don't have the humility to pause and say, you know what?
I shouldn't be doing this.
You know what? You might be right. It's always the ego, like, oh, I wish they would, or oh no, my wife can hold on, like she don't play that. These are professional people at what they do.
Yep.
You know what they
You
do.
got to respect the craft. For the simple fact that if a person can break into your home, they have no respect on whether or not anybody's going to be in that house.
Yeah, that's my, well, I got an alarm system.
Okay.
We, that's why they're called, hackers. That's why the wireless systems became popular because, the professionals just cut the wire.
Not only that, they can track you.
Right.
And then when people sit back and put their locations, the phones are tracking their locations. Oh.
Yeah, because these are professionals. They're in to get in, and get out. They've cased.
In other words, let's go back to the Beatles.
I love my flip. I love my flip phone.
Let's go back to the Beatles, yeah.
Because it's all about Google Earth now. Like you can say whatever you want to say. You got to now explain. Well, why was your car in the desert on this spot and there's a body there? Yeah. But again, but
nowadays I don't see why anybody would do any crime because it's just it's too many cameras, too many cell phones.
Well, because the narcissism has already told me that I'm smarter than everybody.
But you filmed it. So
Yeah.
evidently you're not smarter because guess what?
You're
filming your own crime.
The narcissism has told them that's why. They think they can just upload. I mean, look at the cats that killed. What is it? It's
that was a sad situation.
But you're on camera.
Yeah, you're on camera.
And then he's on camera, let everybody know that he got a bag, $50,000, and then.
Well, the same thing happened with Pop Smoke. I mean,
what he's going to do. So.
Pop Smoke, he went live showing where he was. Some cats recognized that spot and then came through. You look at Sean Taylor. This man got killed. Because people hadn't been in his house.
Yeah, friends. Those were friends. People that he looked out for.
Yeah.
But again,
majority of your thefts are gonna come from somebody that's gonna come because of someone that have been in your home.
And the person that killed you more often than somebody, raping your children and all of those things.
And I'm gonna say this because I'm a gun owner and I had my car before we passed the law for you don't have it. A lot of people, they go to the range, they shoot, but when it comes to having a person in front of you, and you pulling that trigger, you have to mentally be ready for that. To say, hey, if somebody come in my house, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. Listen, it's all good. But if you got someone that's in that house and they fire back at you, that is a different scenario.
Well, I've always said if you go to the firing range, because I'm very inquisitive, and the first time I went to the range, I asked a question. Well, why is it at 7 feet? And the instructor said, "Oh, that's because most people will miss 7 feet."
Yep.
I was like, "Oh, okay, it makes sense." And then he broke down the why. You got the adrenaline pumping, and then most people, like you said,
don't breathe.
No, most people got a gun that they've never used in their life. They don't know the power, the recoil. They don't really know how to hold it. And
the first thing they do want to turn it because it looks good on TV.
Yeah, you turn to the side. Good luck.
You're gonna miss everybody.
Yeah, good luck.
I'm gonna tell you this funny thing. So I'm coming down a certain street and I'm at the red light. I can't go anywhere. I got a car in front of me. I got cars in the back of me. I got cars over in the turning lane, so I can't go over there. And I'm looking over in the gas station, and this young dude, he's sitting there and he's talking to this other kid. And all of a sudden, he just pulls out his gun and pop, pop 5 times. And the guy is as far as from me to your sign over there. Okay, missed him all 5 times. The kid runs up to the top of the hill. He turns back. He lays one out. He walks in front of my car, and I'm sitting here saying to myself, I already got my gun out because if this kid if he shoots up towards me, I can't do nothing but return fire. He walks on the other side of my car, pats himself like, this motherfucker didn't even hit me. And then runs across the railroad track. And all of this is going on while I'm sitting there going, dude, you trying to show out with a gun, and I'm looking at your shot. Every shot that you're doing is down at the ground. So you really didn't intend to hit him. You just want to try to scare him. But when he turned around and threw back fire on you, at any point in time, that could have came back to haunt you. So you're sitting here trying to play with a gun, trying to scare somebody.
Well, the bullet could have just as easily ricocheted and hit him.
Yeah.
That has happened. It's sad. This was on the news last week. A young man was killed. I think he was only like 18, 19 years old. They tried to rob him. And they were trying to take, his gun. And stop right there. Say, here we go again. We got an inexperienced person with a firearm that couldn't even identify that, wait a minute, these people are closing in. Get out, be ready to roll. It's sad, but that lets you know we need to be mindful of posting locations and all of those things, because even with a gun showing, it didn't stop them from what they were aiming to do, and he lost his life. Yeah, that's the tragic.
It is very tragic. I mean, it's PTSD is more than just military. PTSD is post-traumatic stress.
It's just from trauma.
It's trauma. So you can have trauma growing up in the area that you grew up in. If it was a pretty bad area, you can have trauma from that. Seeing, if your mom and dad fight all the time, that's trauma. It's a lot of things out here that can give a person trauma. You have to be able to identify to heal so that you can get the help that you need. Unfortunately, we go back to the same scenario. A lot of people don't think that, I'm good.
Well,
they suppress it.
It's everybody else.
Yeah, it's everybody else. That's the reason why, if I go out here and people will make up any kind of reason they want to. Same thing, people go out here and sell drugs or do whatever, sell their body. Or I'm doing it to survive, to support my kids. Is that the only thing that you can do to survive? Is that the only choice that you have?
Right.
And at what point in your life are you going to say, all right, I did it. I did it to get myself out of this situation. Why am I still in this situation a year from now? Then you have to start looking at yourself. You are the problem.
It goes back to the cheating. I cheated on this person because they didn't do this. And okay, that was 5 years ago. Why are you guys still together?
Correct.
Like they're still not doing it. So are you still cheating? It's some scenarios people feel like it's cheaper to keep her. Some scenarios it's I don't want to start over. Some scenarios is they position themselves. They didn't fully take advantage of how good they had it and stack their chatter the right way to just and I'm not promoting leaving by no means, but if your needs aren't being met, to continue to damage yourself
and damage the other person.
Yeah, if there's kids involved, I mean, it's like, come on, what are you doing? Yeah, but this concludes another cigar episode. Thank you guys for tuning in to Sports-A-Delic. Thank you to my subscribers. Please like, share, and definitely leave your comments.
Send smoke signals.
Something. Give us something. Yeah. We've covered, any number of topics, and that's what happens. This is the beauty. If you find yourself in the right lounge, you have an incredible, dialogue.
Yes, you can have a great conversation.
And that you see, we agree to disagree. James don't want to kill me. I don't want to kill him. We just
grown folk business.
Just grown folks. Just grown folks behavior.
Yeah.
James has said that Ciara is for the streets. I'm saying I don't know if she's for the streets or not, but I will tell you
keep hope alive, right?
No, I don't know if she's for the streets. My issue was, like I said, uploading that with her kid, and she thought it was cute.
Come on.
That's irreprehensible. Like I said, I don't care what Ciara does. Like I don't play at that level. But what I'm saying is, I am for all children. And if your son is at the point where he asking you what that thing is, and you,
that's a problem.
And you thought the best thing to do was upload. You thought it was funny.
Something personal like that.
She's laughing. He asked you when the camera wasn't rolling. That's a teaching moment.
Yeah.
He let you know that he's seen something.
But you had to put it out there to social media so that you want to create some type of meme. At the end of the day, it's a disappointing situation for you to even have that, for your child to ask you that question.
Right.
Because now that child is now identifying something that you're doing that is not in their mind, in their eyes, good.
Well, he had a little smile on his face and stuff, but that's because he really don't understand. He's 8. Yeah. He don't really understand, but he's going to understand the first time he's playing, with his friends at school or something, and they get into a little argument like kids do.
Yeah.
And
what Ludacris say?
He say, your mom is a blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I seen your mom's butt.
Don't talk about my mama.
And he's going to have a lot of fights because she doesn't seem to understand all the mishaps that can happen.
She understands completely.
I don't think
she don't care.
No,
it's about her.
That's
it's about him. It's about whenever you see these people out here doing, it's about them. It's never about anyone else. It's about them.
That's a lack of self-awareness, which lets me know she don't understand.
Just like every woman is a 10.
She doesn't understand, and I support that. I'd rather see people thinking that they are 10s.
That's delusion.
No, you're laughing, but I'm a mental health therapist.
I understand you're a mental health therapist.
I had rather people think that they're 10 and really be comfortable and happy with that, rather than to be a 10 and think that they're a 5 and become depressed and get into a whole lot of other self-destructive behaviors.
But do you not think that the person who think they're a 10 and they actually are a 5, that they are hurting themselves in the long run because it's a form of delusion? They think that they are something what they're not. Yeah, we can all think that we're something, but you have to really identify. You have to be truthful to yourself.
Well, I don't know, because
if you can lie to yourself, you can lie to anyone.
Well, I don't think that a person is lying to themselves if they think that they look good. See,
no. You can think. I'm
saying it's subjective.
You can have confidence in yourself, but the reality of it is like, okay, if you think that you're a 10, that means that all of the women that people have said are 10s, and men, and the men who think he's all of that. And you look at it and you say, hey, I'm with this person. I'm on the same level as this person. Delusion.
Again, I don't know that they really think that, because they can't get into those circles. That reminds them every day that they're not. I'm just talking about, self-esteem. Like if you are truly happy with yourself, the way that you are, as far as what you see when you look in the mirror, I can't necessarily, only thing I can say is I don't agree. I don't find you as attractive as you find yourself, but they still can. Somebody
might will.
Yeah, because every pot has its lid. They're behaving like that because they're running 3 or 4 people. Because they got a woman buying them Jordans, they're using a woman's car over here. They got somebody, so you can't tell them that they're not, because hey, I got all of these extra benefits. That's what happens. Now, if it was just the opposite, if they're thinking all of this and They don't have anybody buying them Jordans. They don't have the debit card, and stuff. Now we're getting into delusion. But they can't be deluded when.
They can still be delusional.
No, they're not deluded if they say, I got the magic stick and they got 4 different women flossing them with gifts and buying them stuff.
Well, that's okay.
They're deluded if
the magic. Okay.
Well, Angela Bassett is not going to do it.
Yeah, but let's be realistic. Okay, if you can deal with a person and you feel like you got them under control because you got that magic stick, then you got to look at it that's the one thing that person has put emphasis on that they needed. So they can have the great job, they can be making great money, but if they are lacking the affection and the touch, someone comes through and they lay it down, they're gonna give them that. If he cannot be a good lover, but he's a great provider. You got a woman that will stay in that situation because he is a great provider, but he doesn't satisfy her sexually. So it's a lot of different variances that go into that, them making that decision.
Right, but I'm just talking about, I think, because I really do know what delusion is, I don't think that, we use it in a fun way that they're delusional, but delusion is when it's really not coming from a place.
Yeah.
It's not delusion, and like I said, she's one buying Jordans, one giving him $200 a week, and he's driving one's Jeep. They're not deluded. They're not. They just become deluded. When they find themselves, let's say, at the NBA All-Star game, and that's when they become deluded, because that's when they'll step to the true tens and become angry and furious
and get shot down
when they get, that's the delusion.
Yeah.
Because now, here we go. You went from something being real, now it's unreal. Like
it's in your face.
Yeah, doggone well.
But I think at the end of the day, sometimes a sane person would understand. You know what? Maybe I think I'm more than what I actually am. The insane person would be like, "Oh, it's just you."
Well, because the flip side is there's a lot of very good-looking men that are doing well, that a woman of means not going to give them the time of day because their status isn't of a celebrity. So they and that's what I notice about Atlanta. Atlanta gives the illusion to those that are maybe a little deluded that they are a celebrity. They get to be a celebrity in Atlanta.
Listen, this is my birth, state. This is my birth city. So I got to correct something on this. Any major city that has a strong urban presence is going to go through the same thing. All of the major cities that are out there going through the same thing. Miami, Houston, New York.
James, you can ball in Atlanta whether you have money or not. You cannot ball in New York. You got to have.
Well, the cost of living doesn't allow for you to ball. Just like in San Francisco, the cost of living doesn't allow for you to ball. But
the cost of living here is worse because the cost of living is here, and the wage earning is here.
Correct. But you got some people.
And then you're talking about union state versus non-union
state.
It's a whole lot of stuff. That's why I'm saying you can ball here. Some places you're not going to be able to, like the nightlife in Atlanta.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's quite different than
any other place that you're gonna find.
The nightlife in New York. You're gonna have to bring it.
This is truly a party city.
No. New York is a party city, but
New York is a city that stays open 24 hours.
You got to have that, the netto. You gotta have the money. You gotta have
it in Miami.
You gotta have it. Or it's a
you gotta have it here.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, you don't, because I know people that they ain't got it, but Atlanta says so. James, I'm telling you, they don't.
They got it in their tax bracket. In their tax bracket, they got it. Whether it is 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 200, whatever the number is, in their tax bracket,
what I'm saying is what most people do here in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be able to do it nowhere else other than Atlanta. That's why they're here doing it. That's the only thing.
Okay, so when you say doing, what are you talking about? What are they doing?
I'll take the dating. The cat's meow.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in an area where, because New York is very segregated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they don't got it, that they don't have it.
Okay.
Because you don't even see them.
Okay.
Whereas Atlanta, you can go. I want to make sure.
Because I'm waiting.
It's a West End Atlanta.
Okay.
Okay. You can still drive from West End Atlanta, to downtown and completely enjoy yourself.
Okay.
And ball out to the max. Whereas in New York, you won't even be able to afford the parking.
Okay. So this is my view of it. Atlanta is different because.
Have you lived in both areas?
Yeah, I've lived all over this.
No, tell me where you lived in New York. Because then
no. I mean, not in New York. I've only visited New York.
No, I'm speaking having lived in both areas, and I see the concrete, differences. That's why my pop's retirement, like he can come down south and buy a house and a couple of cars and, ball out to the max. Whereas he would have only gotten a sliver.
Okay.
A sliver of that.
Okay. So and I don't know if you see the direction of where Atlanta's going, but in the next 5 to 10 years, it is going to be I think it's going to be a combination of LA and New York. Because the cost of living is increasing, the pay is still not there. But this is a non-union state.
Right.
Okay, so until they change that and make this a union state, then what's going to happen is that your businesses that are here, because if I'm a business owner, I'm going to look out for the best interest of my company. And the best interest of my company might not be to be in a state where it is unionized. I might turn around and move to South Carolina or North Carolina or Alabama, Tennessee, even Florida, or move to one of those states, whereas that is not an issue because it's about my bottom line. Right. And the bottom line is so that I can make sure that I maximize my return, that I am going to be in a position whereas I can pay the salaries that I need to pay and go from there. Because if you look at it, that's the reason why the U.S. we don't make anything, because you can't pay people, $50, $60 an hour, because at some point in time, they're making a lot of money, and there is going to be no middle person or person to actually do the work. Right. COVID proved that. When COVID came around, everybody, they wasn't working, and when COVID, leveled out, nobody went back to work. Everybody's trying to pursue their dream. OnlyFans, social media, podcasts, all of that stuff just blew. Content, all of this stuff blew up because they don't want to go and work at a job or have someone, do it. What's the thing now? Women say, "Oh, a 9 to 5, you broke." If you work a 9 to 5, you broke. What went wrong with working a 9 to 5?
Well, again, I look at people's opinion because you ask that same person, excuse me, most people say stuff they have nothing to support it with. They just don't. You know, you got scientists. Well, I know one of our friends, you know, she works a 9 to 5. She makes $175,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
By this lady's standards, just the mere fact that she's working, she's broke. She has over 840 credit score.
Okay.
She drives a nice car. She lives in affluent areas. But according to this woman, she's broke.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's delusion.
Well, no, it's just her opinion. You know, it's her
But
opinion.
it's you know, it's this the same woman made her statement. She says, you know, if I want to be able to go to Jamaica, I want to be able to go. I don't want to have to worry about you asking for time off. Who can live like that? There's only a certain amount of people that can control that type of and can move that kind of way. You know, you say you want a good man,
Well, just
hardworking man.
Tell her to go. There are men in Jamaica when she get there. That's what I told.
Yeah.
There's men in Jamaica when you get there.
Yeah.
You know, and they'll be more than happy.
Toodaloo.
They'll be more than happy to do whatever it is you want.
Yeah.
Because
Passport.
the American dollar is not as worth like it used to be
Correct.
in all of the countries, but it still has more worth there than here.
Yeah.
You know, just going over there.
Yeah.
You know, because when people say wild things, I give them what they say. If you play stupid game, you get stupid prizes. If you say
Stupid prizes.
If you say stupid things, I'm gonna give you stupid, response. Just zip all of that up. Go on and go to Jamaica. Leave your man here. You know, but if you want to go with your man, then you retire him so he doesn't have to work the 9 to 5.
Correct.
And y'all can go everywhere that you want, to go. Because there's very few businessmen that can just up and go and be gone for 2 weeks or whatever, because what's going to happen to their business?
Yeah.
Like
What's
I
it,
said,
scammer?
I'm just saying.
Dealer?
Yeah. Even a dope dealer is like, I can't take 2 weeks.
He can't miss that many days on that.
Like, no. So, I told you sometimes it makes me ashamed to be a woman. Some of the things that come out of their mouth.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. You're in the United States of America.
Do what you do.
Do what you do.
If you like it, I love it.
If you like it, I love it. And we love cigars.
Yep.
And we love, bringing you our opinions based in fact, though. Like, we're not sitting here just
You got to be in fact.
Delusional.
Yeah.
About, what we're saying. We appreciate you tuning in. And, same time, same place.
Same back channel.
Yeah, we probably need to go on the road. Look for Sports-A-Delic to be on the road 2023. That's what we need to do. We need to just start posting up in these lounges and giving people the real.
What's the real?
The real.
I got you.
Sports-A-Delic, where we talk about sports and everything else.
I'll let your boy.
Poor James.